Our June board meeting, we have the first item for approval are our minutes from May. Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. The minutes are approved, and now we'll move into public comments.
I believe we have members of the public today. Are you here for public comment?
Yes. If you want to go ahead and go to the podium, that'd be great. And state your name. Okay. Yeah. We're glad you're here.
Hi, my name is Barbara Parker, and I live in the Fiscal Catholic Apartments in Winter Haven. And thank you for letting us come today. I have two little things. One would be there is a large need for a circulator in our area. It would be very beneficial to you guys. I know you're short on drivers. However, it would save on time, gas, and be less pressure on your regular drivers that have not that any of our rides aren't important, but important places to go, like the dialysis centers and stuff like that. It makes much more sense to have something like a circulator like Lakeland does. And I truly would appreciate you considering that. I know sometimes when we had another system, the ridership wasn't all that good. Well, the ridership was beginning to pick up when it stopped. You've got to give it time. It will work. And the other little thing was the scheduling. I recently went to the terminal in Winter Haven to get the bus down to my stop, and I had to wait 45 minutes. Now, I understand the reasoning, okay, to extending the time from the Lakeland to Winter Haven bus and vice versa. I understand that. But I got there 15 minutes early so I wouldn't miss the bus, and wound up having to wait 45 minutes because the driver had to take a half-hour break. I don't know the answer to that, but I'd like you to try to think of one. And anyway, basically, that's all I really have to say. Those are two important things that are important to us. And
You're finished.
no, basically, I am finished. I just can't stress enough the importance for that. And a lot of the people down there are seniors now, and a lot of them are giving up their cars. So we need more access and not have to wait 2 hours for a bus or whatever.
On your circulator request, do you have a recommendation on where those stops might be, at least to start, and evolve as
Yeah, you
needed?
see apartments. Winter Haven, I don't know if they covered the center town, the first little Walmart's 355 Cypress Gardens, I believe, and the Publix across the street. A lot of the buses now are picking people up to truck them across the street and then come back and pick them up because they can't walk that far anymore. That, to me, if you have a circulator, eliminates that driver having to do that kind of stuff, which is time, money, gas.
And the previous shuttle that you were referring to, that would be the smart shuttle, the one that
I was
operated.
told not to mention that name, but yes.
That's okay. That's okay. You can mention whatever you'd like. So the smart shuttle was job access reverse commute federal funding. And that was a 2.5 mile bubble around the downtown Winter Haven terminal. It was effectively a community circulator that focused on getting people in and around access to the terminal. When that federal funding was no longer available, that spigot was turned off, and we applied to TD and to ADA, which all of the people in the EC apartments fell to. However, that was moving from a Cadillac type service to standard public transportation.
Right.
I'm happy to tell you that yesterday we were meeting with Mayor Dantzler of Winter Haven on another issue regarding public transportation, specifically in Legoland. And the discussion about a downtown community circulator did come up in that conversation. Not what you are describing,
Right.
but it is definitely something that we can share with our municipal partners at Winter Haven.
Well, I just think it'd be less wear and tear on your regular drivers too. The only thing good I can see about this whole COVID mess is instead of having one person on a bus, when two buses have to take two different people, one person on a bus, Well, now we get 3 and 4 people in a bus. That makes more sense anyway. But the circulator would be a big help all the way around to you guys and to us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
No, she mentioned everything else.
We'll say +2 on
Okay.
those comments.
Well, plus 3 or 4 actually, we're not all here.
Okay, all right. Well, we thank y'all for coming. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for listening.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening.
Any other public comments? And Tom, you'll have contact information and stay up to speed with
Yeah.
our
Yes,
guests?
I'm gonna ask Dave Walters to get all of your contact information, and we will follow up with you and keep you apprised of our conversations with the city administrator.
Thank you. All right, our next item of approval on the agenda is our letter of understanding with the union.
Yes, Chair, as you are aware, the union had a meeting on May 20th to approve the raises that will take effect October 1st. And the vote was unanimous. So we're very happy with that. And so what we have today is the letter of agreement to be approved by the board. It will affect the change to the wage table effective October 1st.
Move forward.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're gonna move to Ms. Bennington, our CFO, for our finance report.
Good morning. I'll start with LAMTD. We are 58% through the year-to-date fiscal budget. As of April 30th, we had 7.8 million in revenues, or 112% of the year-to-date budget. Fare box revenues reflected 188,000, or an unfavorable 46% of the year-to-date budgeted revenues, which is still due to the decline in ridership and a driver shortage. Ad valorem taxes totaled 5.6 million, or 99%. We have almost collected everything that we have budgeted at this point. The Florida DOT operating grants, year to date, we've received $557,000. The FTA Section 5307 operating and capital grants, year to date, we've received $820,000. For the expenses, we totaled 5.96 million, or 85% of the year-to-date budget. The salaries and benefits represent 65% of the budget. As of April 30th, we had spent 3.94 million, which is 13% under budget, or a favorable variance of 576,000. Professional and technical service expenses totaled 242,000, which is 18% under budget. Fuel expenses totaled 385,000, which is 21% over the budget. And materials and supplies totaled 406,000, or 5% under budget. Based on the year-to-date budget as of April 30th, we have a favorable actual variance of 1.83 million, with 58% of the fiscal year completed. This is predominantly due to the influx of the ad valorem taxes and the favorable variance due to salaries and benefits expense.
Any question on LAMTD financials? Okay, we'll move on to Polk County Transit.
Okay. Revenues totaled 5.17 million, which is 99% of the year-to-date budget. FTA grant drawdowns totaled 1.02 million, or 60% of the year-to-date budget. County funding reflects payments of 3.03 million. FDOT grant revenues reflected 419,000, or 48% of the year-to-date budget. And FDOT block grant revenues reflected 301,000, or 82% of the year-to-date budget. For expenses, they totaled 4.36 million, or 83% of the year-to-date budget. Salaries and wages totaled 2.16 million, or 81% of the year-to-date budget. Operating expenses totaled 1.37 million, or 88% of the year-to-date budget. Contractor transitions commute solutions. Total expenses were 830,500, or 81% of the year-to-date budget.
Any questions for Kelly? All right, we'll move on.
Next, we have TV. We are at 83% of the fiscal year. Revenues totaled $815,000 or 74% of the year-to-date budget. The TD Trust Fund grant drawdown reflected $742,000 or 75% of the grant. County funding for the match totaled $73,000 or 66%. The total expenses totaled $814,000 or 74% of the year-to-date budget. Salaries, wages, and benefits totaled $577,000 or 70% of the year-to-date budget. And operating expenses totaled $237,000 or 88% of the year-to-date budget. The actual revenues exceeded expenses by $709. So we're almost at break-even point. This is also, yeah. Yay.
She said she was very happy with
Yes,
that.
I am very happy with that. It's better than $1.52, but you know, okay. We are still using TD drivers, so we are moving 5.98% using the job costing method to reallocate the drivers properly. Any questions on that?
Okay. And then our next is an approval item.
We recommend the approval of the transportation disadvantage budget for fiscal year 22-23. The total budget is $1,418,000. The Commission for Transportation Disadvantage will fund $1.276 million through grant funds, and $142,000 will be budgeted into the Polk County's transit budget. The total operating expense is $1.418 million, which is $103,901, or 7.8% more than last fiscal year's budget.
Yes.
Chair, as we discussed yesterday, I just wanted to point out for the general public and for anyone that's listening, that the transportation disadvantage is funded 90% by the state, 10% by the Polk County Board of County Commissioners. And I'd like to thank the Polk County Board of County Commissioners and the LAMTD Board, because this is open to all Polk County residents who are at or below the poverty line. So I know from time to time you may run into constituents who say that, for example, Frostproof or Eagle Lake, when they decided to decline public transportation, you may hear that they do not have access to public transportation. This is just a reminder that the Polk County Board of County Commissioners continues to fund TV services to all residents of Polk County, and they pay 100% of that local funding for that. So it's open to everyone, and this is not reflecting the fair share.
Yes.
Then my only question on this, and I don't know if it's really addressable, is the fuel increase.
So we used,
I saw that it's larger, so
yes, we used the $3.80, which we've used to budget from the Department of Energy, because we can rely on that number. So,
we know it's their number.
yes.
Yes, Commissioner Lindsay.
Are there any red flags or trends that cause you angst
With TD,
with any of these?
no. I think that we're coming out of COVID, so slowly but surely. And I think the increase in driver's pay is going to help us significantly, because I think that's what we're all feeling right now.
Can't provide the service. if you
Right.
don't have the driver.
Right. And if you don't provide the service, then you don't have a business.
And
So-
you may have seen recently, thanks to Erin and her team, we now have a mobile TV bus. So we're able to actually go out into the lower income communities and register people for transportation disadvantage. So that's going to be excellent moving forward to allow us to engage members of the public that we know they have not been able to engage, and that they won't have to come to the terminal to reload their cards necessarily. That mobile system will be there. So we're excited about that. As Commissioner Lindsay always says, the need will always outpace
Yes.
the revenues.
You need a resolution, a motion to approve that resolution.
Yes, please.
Move approval. Thank you, guys.
Second.
So a motion and a second.
Okay.
Further discussion, questions?
Should be okay.
Seeing none, all in favor? Next item
Okay.
is also an approval item.
Yes, for approval. We'd like to offer squeeze service to the farmer's market for 4 Saturdays in September. We have proposed the budget starting October 1st, so this is in addition to that. The total estimated costs were $3,666 for those 4 Saturdays, which includes training of $1,340. So those operators will be trained to be used after the fact.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Questions? It is a good thing. Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Darby?
First item, the interlocal agreement for countywide transit system contains the same provisions as last year's agreement. This is the agreement for fiscal year 2022, 2023, except for the payment amount. The only comment I made or question related to the insurance coverage. I just wanted to make sure that the provision in this interlocal agreement accurately reflects the insurance coverage we have. And I have talked to Steve Shuttle about that, and he has confirmed that that's the case. So otherwise, legally, the agreement is sufficient. So otherwise, it would amount to the terms, and I'll defer to Tom.
Chair, Commissioners,
Yes.
I just cannot thank county staff enough for how far we've come in the 6 years with this
agree.
agreement.
Yeah.
And how smooth it went this year. It was definitely the smoothest that we've ever had. This reflects, as you know, approximately a 4% increase to the overall county budget for $3.132 million. It also provides that those funds will be paid at the beginning of the fiscal year, which is very important to the cash flow of the county services because they do not have a reserve. So for the county staff watching, I'd just like to thank them. And this agreement very much reflects the hard work of the finance staff, the groundwork that David laid, what Kelly has been able to do, and truly this works in the best interest of everyone.
Great.
Move approval.
Motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Darby?
Next item, an independent contractor agreement for an additional 6-month term. The terms of that agreement are the same as the previous agreement, except for the term, it being commencing on July 1, 2022, ending on December 31, 2022 for the 6 months. Paragraph 2, instead of 2 days a week, David will be available 1 day a week. The third change relates to the compensation. Instead of $5,000 a month, it'll be $3,000 a month. Otherwise, the terms of the agreement are the same as the previous agreement.
Motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We have actually now we have 3 resolutions for the addition of land. We thought we had 4, but thanks to Chuck, it was discovered that one of the parcels is already in the district. It honestly gets confusing, believe me. And I got the letter from the owner, Chuck, on 31, which is resolution 2113, about 15 minutes ago. So anyway, resolution 21-11 is a proposed addition of land owned by Morgan Creek Properties LLC located on Medalla Road. And you have copies of 2 pictures relating to that proposed addition, I think, right? Oh, okay. Okay. It's two parcels, that one and then another one, and they're both 15.76 acres each for a total of 31.52 acres, and they're on Medalla Road. So that's the proposed addition of land. It would be resolution 22-11, and I will submit these resolutions to Palmer Davis immediately after the meeting, so they'll be included on this year's tax roll.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Second resolution 22-12, property owned by Premier Holdings and Investments LLC located at 4223 Pipkin Road, as described on the picture. It's 1.45 acres. Parcel number 093.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Third parcel owned by Resolution 22-13, property owned by RNG Pipkin Road Properties 2 LLC located on South Pipkin Road as described on the picture. It's 1.97 acres.
Motion and second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So we don't need Resolution 21-14.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Darby. All right, James is going to provide our TPO update, right?
Yes, Chair. Unfortunately, Joy Davis couldn't be with us this morning, but she gave me some notes. Basically, since last time we met, we had our public engagements in Winter Haven and Lakeland. As you can see, we're getting some good feedback from the public as far as what people want to see, frequency or quicker routes or meandering routes. But as far as the TDP, we are on track for our October delivery, and that will be upcoming in future updates. That's it.
Great. Thank you, James. Appreciate you stepping in and doing that. All right, Mr. Phillips.
Yes, I have Chair, Commissioners, I have a road diet update and discussion with FDOT to discuss with you. As you know, the road diet has been going on for some time now. We partnered with the Florida Department of Transportation to make sure that the corridor is functioning properly given the restricted lanes. And so we deleted approximately 14 bus stops within the project area. And the Florida Department of Transportation funded the Peach Line, which is a very successful community circulator, which I believe is the one that was discussed in public comment. And it is primarily servicing the Dixieland neighborhood, specifically the senior high rises are our most popular riders. And they're able to get to the grocery store, they're able to get to Southgate, they're able to get to the post office, and they're doing, and they're done approximately 12 to 1,500 rides a month. Does that sound accurate? So it's a very well-used service. Our initial joint participation agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation did not match, and does not match, the continued length of the road diet. So my report to you today is that our funding from the Florida Department of Transportation for the Peach Line has been expended. There are no additional funds from the Florida Department of Transportation. We communicated to the Florida Department of Transportation that our understanding was that the Peach Line would be funded for the duration of the road diet. And the communication that we have received from the Florida Department of Transportation is that there is a public workshop that will be held July 11th, and that there is an expected decision on the future of the road diet project from the City Commission, but it's unknown at what time that decision will be made. And that they're going to recommend that we wait till the results of this workshop to gain a better understanding of how much longer the pilot program will be in place. In the interim, the Florida Department of Transportation has asked that we transmit a budget, an accurate budget for what it would look like to continue to fund that. So thanks to Kelly and David, we will be transmitting that to the Florida Department of Transportation. It's approximately $25,000 a month to be able to do that. And currently what we are doing is we are using our 5307 funds, our federal funds, to fund the Peach Line as the state funding has been expended. So for the time being, we'll use our unused 5307 funds from Lakeland to fund the project while we await the decision and outcome of how much longer the road diet will be going on.
So in an effort to encourage DOT to continue to fund the Peach Line while the test is going on, our options are basically, to encourage DOT to help fund us that, because that, the test is part of their purview, and not necessarily rely on these other dollars because they could be applied elsewhere, or put buses back in the road diet, which I don't know that any of us really want to necessarily do that. So Mayor Mons.
So is it reimbursable if they approve it?
Maybe. Possibly. There have been very few instances of pre-award authority. David and Kelly, correct? We've had maybe one or two instances of pre-award authority. So it is a possibility.
It's a low possibility.
It's a low possibility.
Yeah.
And we,
Commissioner Wall.
of course, because of the first meeting, that's July 11th. And we don't know how long, even at that point,
Right.
the continuation would go with the process. And I was wondering, even at this point, would they even, and you could, the consideration, of course, of dollars are needed for how long? And I guess you said the budget's already set for how, for period of what? Is it?
We have transmitted we will be transmitting a budget to them of $25,096.15 a month in perpetuity.
Okay.
And that would include all of the expenses for each one.
Commissioner
In the interim,
Yeah.
we'll be using federal funds to fund the state project, which is allowed.
You haven't been given assurance of which we're looking.
Yes, sir.
So how many months at $25,000 a month can you swallow before you either have to shut it down or go and be?
I'm hesitant to take that on the chin, just as the transit chair, because I don't want it to be seen as, well, you can just keep applying whatever this magic bucket of money is in perpetuity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to present that
We had
as,
100
oh, we have
so
extra
what's
money
that,
laying
that's
around,
52 or
to
70.
cover
So
this.
you're looking at the
because
range of
DOT
5 to 6
doesn't have
So
the onus on them to,
exactly my point.
That's
Yeah.
it.
There is an exhaustible supply
Yes.
of offered money
Yes.
right,
that should be reimbursed
right.
when we get there. The question is, absent an answer, how long are we going to fund it?
And that's what I was kind of leading to as well.
5 months would be the maximum.
I would think that following the July 11th meeting, that there'd be a pretty clear decision, certainly by August, in terms of the direction we're going to take. That's going to take us along. And, but I've been wrong before. So, I can be wrong.
How long do they normally take?
Well, I will say for the record, with this particular project, the initial JPA from what we submitted to DOT, it was funded the same way. For this particular project, I've never seen that with DOT. So on this particular project, I would imagine that it would be a very quick turnaround once that decision is.
Yeah, DOT is motivated to want to do that because the buses, the regular buses back in that route is very negative and dangerous for the entire project.
It was counterproductive to the whole work.
Counterproductive. So I would expect we can be directed by August that we'll be well within that window and that they will be able to.
Reimburse them from forward.
And because the reimbursement ought to take place, it really should. It's their idea. We've pursued it. We've got an alternative. They funded it. We're obviously continuing with that as an option. And the use of the federal funds to be used as really the rest of the budget.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Agency updates.
Yes, I have no particular agency updates at this time.
Okay. Is that all we have?
Chair.
Yes.
With the TD budget, I should have also included the grant application is up for approval as well. That's kind of a package. deal.
It's part of it.
Yes.
Yes.
So
And I
we
didn't specifically say the grant application.
so we need a motion to approve.
A motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
We're done. We're done. Meeting's adjourned. 9:02.
8:50.
That's what-
Yeah.